Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of our slash Am I the Butthole? Am I the butthole for making my ex a birthday cake even though his girlfriend told me she had already ordered one? I'm an amateur baker and I like to make cakes for people for their birthdays. My ex doesn't like sweet stuff, but our kids like helping me make a cake for him, so I normally make one for him anyway for their sakes. This year his girlfriend planned a party for him and she told me she had already ordered him a cake, so I didn't need to make one. I told her that was fine, but my daughter kept asking me when we would make her dad's cake and was upset when I said we wouldn't because she assumed I didn't like my ex and that's why I wouldn't make him one. Since the cake has always been more for the kids than for my ex, I decided to just make him a small one since it's not like he eats cake anyway and I don't want my kids to think I dislike their dad. I told his girlfriend beforehand that I was going to make a small cake and she told me not to and that I couldn't bring it to the party. I told her I had to bring it to the party as that's when the kids would give him his gifts. I offered to come early and give it to him before the other guests arrived and then they could put it away and nobody else would know about my cake, but she didn't agree with me and repeatedly told me not to bring it. I did take it with me in the end and now she keeps complaining to mutual friends that I did it on purpose to ruin the party and calling me weird for making him a cake after I was told not to. Am I the butthole? Next story. Am I the butthole for asking my friend to move a picture of him and his wife because it made my wife uncomfortable? I am 32-year-old man and my wife Dahila 28-year-old lost our apartment 2 months ago and moved in with mom temporarily. Issues began to arise between Dahlia and mom and I had to ask my friend, Anthony, he is 31-year-old, to let us move in till I get enough money to rent out. His wife was away visiting family and he agreed, but even there, some issues started to arise. For your information, Dahlia is very shy around Anthony. She grew up in conservative home and so it's understandable, but sometimes it can be a bit much, I admit that. For example, she freaked out when she accidentally drank from his glass. She also once made a fuss when he passed by the guest's room when she was lying down and the door was open. Thankfully, Anthony was super understanding and we were able to talk some of these issues out. Last night, Dahlia was passing the hall and noticed a framed picture of Anthony and his wife kissing hanging on the wall. She told me about it and said it made her uncomfortable. She asked if I could speak to Anthony about it, but he didn't take it well. He gave me a look when I spoke to him and said this was bonkers because first of all, his wife put it there. And second of all, the picture holds sentimental meaning to him and his wife and argued that it wasn't some explicit picture of them, just a normal wedding kiss. We started arguing and he said that it wasn't like it was hanging in the living room wall or a perfectly lit room. I asked him to be a little more considerate because it's not like I asked him to remove it completely, just move it elsewhere that Dahlia won't reach or keep it off the wall till we leave. He said he was sorry but still refused. I explained how Dahlia was feeling, but he said that again, he was sorry but would not move the picture. We argued some more and he said that it's his house and that I was being pushy and kind of too comfortable to make such demand and be pushy still. This morning, Dahlia refused to even come out of the room until the picture is moved. Anthony is refusing, which makes it worse. Now I feel like I'm getting stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yes, she might just be overreacting, but I feel like this isn't such a big ask for Anthony to decline and turn down. For what it's worth, if it were me, I'd go the extra mile to make sure my guests are comfortable. Anthony has been a friend of mine for 10 years. I wouldn't have asked to move in with him if I didn't have such strong bond with him. He himself constantly talks about all the things and situations I helped him out with, and we are considered brothers. Next story. Am I the butthole for uninviting my sister-in-law and mother-in-law from everything and saying that if my husband continues to pressure me, he will also be uninvited? I am 7 months pregnant with my first child. The baby is also the first grandchild/nephew of my husband's family, which everyone is excited about. I lost my mother and father to the pandemic, being an only child, so there's not much of my family. Since the death of my parents, 1 year ago, my husband's family has welcomed me with open arms as part of them and I have become very close to my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. I always wanted to have a gender reveal and I trusted my sister-in-law to organize everything about this. With 3 days to go before the party, I started to receive messages from all my husband's relatives and even close friends congratulating me on my baby being a boy. I went to ask what happened. My sister-in-law confessed that she let it slip to my mother-in-law and she told everyone the gender of the baby after knowing, because she couldn't hold it and it took proportions beyond what they imagined. Nobody call me to tell this. The party was cancelled and I was heartbroken, as well as extremely hurt by the two of them. Usually they accompanied me to the ultrasound, shopping for the baby room, and my mother-in-law would stay at the time of delivery. But after this breach of trust, I stopped inviting them and asked them to respect my boundaries when they pressured me to go. Honestly, I didn't even send them the baby shower invite, because I really avoided contact with them as much as possible. Because everyone knew before me that it was a boy. My husband started complaining that I was pushing them away because of a mistake that could happen and that I was being harsh. Yesterday he brought up this, and when I said that I still didn't feel comfortable with them, he said, "Soon you'll tell me that my mother won't be able to go to the birth." I think my face showed my response, and he started saying I was being too hard on her because she was just excited and blah blah. I had my limit and said, "If you keep pushing me, it won't just be your mother who won't be on my labor. So either stop or you won't come in." He started to say that I was crossing lines and that he had a right to have this moment. I was taking this with them too far. He slept on the couch and doesn't talk to me more than necessary. Am I the butthole? Next story. Am I the butthole for bringing my sister-in-law's wallet to the restaurant when she conveniently always forgets it? I am 28-year-old woman and my sister-in-law Amy 26-year-old always comes to visit from out of town. She stays with us instead of a hotel and always wants to go to expensive restaurants. She always conveniently forgets her wallet or dons up with some excuses as to why she can't pay her share. She has implied that since I make much more money than her, I should be the one to pay. No, not my husband should pay, but me specifically. I do make a fair amount of money, but not so much that I can treat someone every time they come into town. Nonetheless, in the past, I have just paid the bill and asked her to pay me back. She never has. She had made a reservation at an extremely expensive restaurant last night, and before we left, I made it clear that I wouldn't be paying her bill. This is where I might be the butthole, and I'll admit I got this move straight from an episode of 2.5 Men. As we were leaving, her and my husband went to the car. I pretended I forgot something and went back inside. I found her wallet sitting right on top of her suitcase. I put it in my purse and we went to the restaurant. When we were done eating, I asked for separate bills. She said no, we need one bill, because she forgot her wallet again. I reached in my purse and said, "This wallet?" She was extremely furious. She said that I should not have touched or grabbed her wallet. So am I the butthole for taking her wallet and bringing it to the restaurant? Next story. Am I the butthole for not taking down my video that was a gift from my best man? I have a sister that's 6 years older than me. My parents for years cancel on me last minute because of my sister. I have a basketball game. Sorry sister doesn't feel like going out. I am graduating. Sorry sister had a bad day at work. They have missed both major and smaller events in my life because of her meltdowns. I met the love of my life. We decided to tie the knot. From the beginning I told my parents how I am worried my sister will ruin another special moment in my life. My mom told me over and over again it would not happen. The day of my wedding, I received a voicemail from my mom saying they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick and she was upset. I was hurt. My best man, however, is a jokester. He took my phone, then went to my fiancée and asked if he could post a video of our wedding as a gift on social media. She loved his idea. I had no idea about it until I came home. Our honeymoon was at a lakeside cabin. No cell service. The post caption was "My best friend. He is an amazing person even if his parents never showed up for him." Video was still pictures of us next to her parents, me on the dance floor, cutting the cake. Where you would normally see both parents in wedding pictures. The sound behind the video was my mom's voicemail explaining how they couldn't come because my sister's dog was sick. I came home a week later to hundreds of messages. Family members from both sides insisting I take it down. I was told my sister hasn't stopped crying. My mom is refusing to leave the house. I may be the butthole here. I didn't take it down when I got my messages. I didn't call my family back right away. I waited until my vacation time was over at work and enjoyed my time with my wife in our new home. Before I contacted anyone, my dad told me to take down the video. It was just a bad night for them. That they will make it up to me and my wife for not coming. My reply was exactly, how do you plan to make up my wedding? It's a once in a lifetime thing. You choose to ignore my feeling on the whole matter. Then he just repeated, he will make it up to me. I told him I would take down the video only when he made up missing my wedding. Flustered, we both hung up the phone before we both said things we shouldn't have. Am I the butthole here? I could have just taken down the video. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.